Hello and welcome to our special program, To The Point. Now, both houses of parliament had witnessed a lot of disruptions during the 15th Lok Sabha. And just recently, a decision has been taken by the chairman of Rajya Sabha to shift the timing of the question hour from 11 to 12 noon. There are several other recommendations which have been made by the Committee on Rules to ensure smooth functioning of the proceedings in the upper house. We have with us none other than Deputy Chairman of the House, Dr. P J Kurien, sir. Welcome and thank you so much for giving us time. First and foremost, since you were also the Chairman of the Committee on Rules, can you just give us a little background as to why were these changes necessary? What led to to the chairman and then the GPC, that's the General Purpose Committee, and then the Committee on Rules coming to these conclusions of bringing in these changes?
Well, you see, you have seen in the recent past that a number of days Parliament do not function properly. Especially the question hour is a casualty on many days. And there are occasions when bills are passed without discussion also. Being a journalist, you know all this.
Because of the disruptions.
Because of disruption. See, passing a bill without discussion, if I can use the word, is a crime. It should not be done, because the impact of a law enacted, if that is not discussed in the Parliament and corrections are not made, the members are not doing their duty. The Parliament is not performing its duty. Then, due to disruption, many important issues which needs the attention of the country and the government are not being discussed. I am not talking about government bills, other issues. You know, in our vast country, there will be so many issues of national importance which have to be discussed. And the House is in disruption. Many MPs want to discuss, but some MPs disturb. What do? In Rajya Sabha, we got a petition to the Privilege Committee from an honorable member. The petition was that particular honorable member came prepared to speak, to put question, because other members, not all members, a few, maybe a dozen, or little more, little less, because they were standing in the well and shouting, that honorable member could not ask the question. He could not intervene. He felt it as a question of infringement of his right to speak in the Parliament. So he moved a privilege motion. Why I narrated it is that many members feel because of disruption, they are not able to present in the House the problems agitating their mind. These problems are all important in their areas. Sitting in Delhi, we may not be knowing. So, if the Parliament doesn't function, most of the members are dissatisfied and unhappy over that. But always a few members can create problem, and we are helpless. And these days, the first casualty was question hour, because the question hour was from 11 to 12 till last session. And members, what members do? Members come prepared for the question, asking question. And due to disruption, question hour is cancelled. If question hour is cancelled, actually, members lose their right to question and make the government accountable. Okay. See, it is through question hour that members can grill the government, ministers. It is through question hour that members can make the ministers accountable. It is a question hour which ministers are really little scared of. And members who are really fighting against the government, especially the opposition members, who are really fighting against the actions of the government, they are helping the government by disrupting the question hour. So question hour disruption is actually helping the ministers, and nobody is gaining anything out of that. Neither the members who disrupt the question hour nor other members gain anything out of disruption. Therefore, it was felt by most of the members. Especially the chairman was many a time was telling this. He also personally felt it, that disruption of question hour. And then members used to say, when they raise an issue at 11 hour, and say they move a motion, the suspension of question hour, then they will say the issue is so urgent, very urgent, so I have to take it up at 11. If Honorable Chairman says, no, why don't you take it up 12? They will say, no, it is so urgent, we want to take it at 11. So, in view of all this, it was felt that if the question hour is shifted from 11 to 12, members who are agitated on certain issues can raise it at 11. They can be allowed to raise it. So, we thought it prudent to shift it to 11 to 12, and therefore, the matter was discussed in the General Purpose Committee, where all leaders are present. There it was unanimously decided. Then it was taken, the decision was taken to the Rules Committee. The Rules Committee also decided, of course, almost unanimously, that this change should be effected. Because of this change, now members who want to raise important issues of national interest, especially which are agitating their mind, they can now raise at 11, between 11 and 12. For that, Honorable Chairman has increased the 0-hour submission from 10 to 11, 10 to 15. 10 to 15. Earlier it was only 10.
Yes.
And when we were giving 10 0-hour submission, there was a lot of pressure from other members. And many members could not be accommodated. Now it has been increased to 15 per day, so that in 5 days, they can have 75 0-hour submissions.
So that's a 50% increase in the 0-hour submission.
So members get more opportunities to present their grievances in the parliament, and parliament is for that.
Okay.
So functioning of the effectiveness of the parliament has increased because of this shiftness.
Okay, great. There are other recommendations as well of the Committee on Rules. We'll come to that later. But I have some interesting figures out here. And since you have had a very illustrious career in both houses of parliament, now that you're the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, you were there in the lower house as well. You've served a number of terms. One question which comes to mind is this, a phenomena of disruption of proceedings, coming to the well, raising slogans, placards, is this a recent phenomena? Because in 15th Lok Sabha, and I have the figures out here, I'm sure you would agree with me, that in 15th Lok Sabha, the lower house lost 61% of the time scheduled for questions. The upper house lost 59% of the time scheduled for questions. That's more than the time which was, allotted for questions. If you come to, number of questions, then it was just only 10% of questions which were answered in Lok Sabha. In Rajya Sabha, there was a slight improvement, but there was only 12%. So decimal figures to be very, to be very clear. But is this a very recent phenomenon? Because these are the figures which I have right now only of the 15th Lok Sabha. There were disruptions in earlier Lok Sabhas as well. But has this been the trend, or is this something which we have witnessed in the last few, terms of the Lok Sabha?
Actually, it's not. In fact, I came to the Lok Sabha in the year 1980. I was member of the Lok Sabha from 1980 onwards till 1999. Till 1999. I'm in 6 consecutive terms. But during maybe 2-3 times, the Lok Sabha did not complete the term. But it was 6. But I remember in the 80s, see, not even once in a year was there such a disruption. What the then opposition used to do was, they will raise an issue of importance, public importance, and if the government is not conceding, the maximum they used to do was to walk out in protest.
Okay.
Walkout was considered to be the biggest form of protest. Protest. And government also used to understand, if the opposition walked out, government also will take it that on this issue, opposition is really agitated, and so government used to respond accordingly. Now this walkout is being given a go by now. Instead of walking out, they are walking into the well. Walking into the well and shouting and disturbing others. Walkout, the principle is that we don't agree with the government, but we are not obstructing the government. The principle in the walkout is that the opposition who walk out say, we don't agree with the government. We oppose this. But we don't obstruct your action. We don't obstruct. You have a right to govern. We have a right to have a say. There is a saying that opposition should have its say and government its way. Now, what happened is now by obstruction, opposition is not having its say and government is prevented from having its way. Both ways it's
both ways it's a loss.
Both ways it's a loss.
Lose-lose situation for
anyhow,
both sides.
Anyhow, this disruption was not there. This kind of disruption was not there in the 80s, even in the early 90s. It is after that gradually it started, and now it has come the order of the day.
So it's a recent phenomenon. And the step.
I don't say recent. Maybe last Parliament, maybe last 10 years, almost 10 years, it gradually started. But every year, every time it is increasing. That's it.
But these changes, which the Rules Committee has suggested, which the House has adopted, and now the question hour will be from 12 noon to 1, and the 0 hour will be from 11 to 12. Is that, do you believe that in the long term that will be really effective in curbing that trend of disruptions? Because in the last 3-4 days when it has been implemented, we've seen that the disruptions still continue.
No, but there's improvement. And I believe there will be improvement. See, because earlier, during the question hour, all these issues were raised. And there will be notices for suspension of question hour. Because 11 a.m., everybody come with an agitated...
Everybody wants to raise their own
raise
issue.
it at 11.
Yeah.
Now, through 0 hour, we are allowing some of them to raise their issues between 11 and 12. Therefore, by the time you start this 12 noon, most of the heat would be... Most of them must have said what they wanted to say.
But as one of the members during the discussion said that, by having 0 hour at 11, this might be continuing till 2 p.m.
No, not necessarily. I don't think so.
You don't subscribe to that view?
No, that is only if the members deliberately want to disturb the House. I don't say many of the members do not want deliberately, even those who come to the well or disturb, their purpose is not to disturb. This is there because they want to highlight their grievance, and they feel that nowadays it is the best form to highlight the grievance, coming to the well and shouting, because they believe that. So once they are able to say what they want to say, and also express what they want to express, and when they think that the government has heard what they want to say, and government is seized of the matter, most of them will be satisfied. And therefore, I don't think most of this trouble will spill over to the question hour between 12 and 1.
Let's take a short break here, and when we come back, we will also ask the Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha about some other recommendations which has been made by the Committee on Rules. And since he has been has had an illustrious career as a parliamentarian, we'll also seek answers from him on the functions of Parliament and as to whether the responsibilities of Parliament are being discharged properly in our democracy. Welcome back. The Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha is still with us. PJ Kurien, we discussed about one of the major recommendations of the Committee on Rules, that is the change in the timing of question hour and 0 hour, that's swapping of the timing between these two. There were other recommendations also which were made by the Committee on Rules, which seems to have been overshadowed by this all-important, recommendation. But then the starred questions have been decreased from 20 to 15. And the unstarred questions have been increased from 155 to 160. Now, the total number of questions remain the same, 175. But what was the need to decrease the number of starred questions from 20 to 15? In any case, not all 20 questions are asked, on a regular day.
No, that's correct. But you must know, a starred question means, what does that mean? See, behind a starred question, behind preparation of answer, you should find out what work, what labor is there. Lot of homework is there for the minister, for the officers. I know when I was minister, I have seen when a start question comes, officers come from, other states. Suppose there is a question on commerce, and if the question is on rubber board, the officers will come from Kerala, rubber board office. You see. So start question, and with all, and the minister has to be present. After all this preparation, if start question is not being asked and not being answered, all the efforts are futile, in vain. So what is the use of keeping so much start questions? Because there is no use, because out of 20 questions, not even a single day, you come up to even 10th question. I told you I was in Parliament, Lok Sabha for about 20 years. I don't remember a single day when all questions were disposed of. I don't remember. Maybe, at least not my memory, maybe. In Rajya Sabha, I am from 2005 onwards. I have not seen even a single day when all questions were disposed of. Yeah. Therefore, it is prudent to reduce the start question, maybe from 20 to 15 is an arbitrary decision, I agree. Okay. But the principle behind reduction of start question is a prudent decision. Now then, but members are not losing. They are asking the question, total number of questions will remain the same. The answers will be coming unstarred, they will get it written in their hands. They can use it. With those questions, if they want, they can further raise discussion in the form of half-an-hour discussion. There is provision for that. So, because from starred, it is 5 questions are converted into unstarred, no member is losing anything.
So, not much of a difference. But
not
then
at all. Whereas, so that big hard work, preparation, behind a start question, at least in the case of 5 questions, there will be some relief for the department.
To the concerned ministry.
Nothing. When department is put to some task, so if you conduct an inquiry on how much money is spent on preparing a question, if somebody can conduct a research, they will find out. Then they will welcome this. I tell you, because I was minister, I know. A start question, behind the preparation of start question, lot of money is spent. Officers travel, go, come, take details, send details, all the. If you make a study on that, you yourself will say, if the question is not answered in the Parliament, what is the use of making all this money?
Another issue which was dealt with by the Committee on Rules and Recommendation said that the calling attention motion, the time for calling attention motion should be shifted from 12 to 5 p.m. But that was, objected to by some members in the House, and you conceded to that. And the House finally agreed that this should be pushed back to, 2 p.m., between 2 and 3. Now, what was the rationale behind shifting it from 12 to 5, and what more purpose can it serve by having it at 2 p.m.?
The rationale of shifting from 12 to 5 was, number one, if it was shifted to 12 to 5, every day, now, this is my personal explanation. My personal explanation, the advantage which I found. Because there are a number of issues which members would like to raise in the form of calling attention. The advantage with calling attention is member can raise the issue, minister is to come and give a detailed reply. After that, members can ask clarification, and the minister has to reply again on clarification. That is only in calling attention. That much advantage members are getting. If it was at 5 p.m., I tell you, if a member want to raise it, a particular issue, you have got all days, because after 5, you have no other business. If the chairman, honorable chairman thinks he can allow in a week 2 or 3 call attentions, because the time from 5 to 6 or 7 you can sit, or 8 you can sit, because that is not, thereby you are not cutting across government time. See, government wants to pass certain bill, and of course afternoon is supposed to be government's time to pass the bill. So government will get time 2 to 5 to pass the bill. Government is satisfied. So at 5 p.m, private members call attention, sit 5 to 6. You could have taken in a week 3 or 4 subjects. That advantage was there. That is what I saw. That is what perhaps honorable chairman has also visualized, that it will be advantages to members. They will get opportunity to raise more issues. All this shift is member friendly. Honorable chairman has viewed at the members angle. 0 hour increase karna, that is for members. So calling attention can be thus increased if it is brought to 5 p.m. But then when it was introduced in the House, I myself introduced the change, then members suggested that, okay, at 5 p.m. if you raise the call attention, in call attention we are raising local issues. Issues maybe from Kerala, West Bengal or Gujarat, certain issues local we will be receiving. But local journalists, local media journalists, they will not be available after 5 p.m. So we raise it. And if we raise it and it is not published in the newspaper, what is the use? Even then there is use, but naturally MPs want publicity also. Therefore they said 5 p.m. they have this advantage. They won't get any publicity if they raise for the call attention. Therefore they suggested that it may be shifted to 2. And honorable chairman also found there is some point in what they are saying. The House was also by and large of this view, by and large, almost all members. So we accepted that, because if that is the sense of the House, we accept it.
Okay, great. One of the another recommendations which was made by the committee was to extend the time of the House from 5 to 6 p.m. Now the question is slightly different. My question is that it's fine. Extension of time will give more times to to ensure that the business is conducted properly, and more time will be given. But don't you also believe and subscribe to the view that the duration of the sessions itself should be longer? We should have more sessions. Maybe now we have 3 sessions in a year: a winter session, a monsoon session, a budget session. Or but should not the Parliament be sitting more often, be convened more often, or once if it is convened, we can have sessions lasting for more than a month? Though that is a decision which is to be taken by the government, but then you've been in the government as well, you've been on the opposition benches as well, and now you're the deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. So what do you have to say on that?
In fact, it is for the government to decide on that. So I can give my personal view. My personal view is that Parliament should sit more days. Because my experience is that many of the bills are passed without sufficient scrutiny. In Rajya Sabha, I don't remember an occasion when we passed a bill without discussion, because the Honorable Chairman is very particular and he believes it is undemocratic. It is wrong to pass bill. So it has not happened. But the point is, even when we pass, adequate discussion is there. But today, bills are passed without adequate discussion and scrutiny. That is not good. That is one point. Second point, you see how many bills which nation wants or public interest are pending for how many years? What is the reason? We are not able to pass. Shortage of time.
Yeah, because,
so I am personally of the view. This is not a criticism against anybody. Since you asked, I am giving a personal view. As a personal view, I am personally of the view the House should sit more days and bills which become finally the law of the land, which will have its own impact on the people. That should be thoroughly discussed, scrutinized before bills are passed.
Okay.
Therefore, I recommend more sitting of the Parliament.
Okay, wonderful. One last question before we close this interview is, Parliament, so as to say, generally has three major important functions. One is to legislate, that's, form laws, amend laws. Another is to deliberate, discuss the issues of, the national importance or urgent importance. Third is to hold government accountable. Throughout your career, you must have had an experience in both houses, in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The question is there a proper balance in our democratic system while Parliament discharging these three functions? Are we maintaining that balance?
See, I tell you, in every sector, there is a deterioration with regard to implementing the taking up the responsibilities or implementing the policies or discharging their duties. In every sector, there is a deterioration. I have no doubt to say that, with regards to discussion, you said Parliament is to discuss. Actually, there is not adequate time for discussion. Then with regard to making the government accountable, in the early days, I remember in the 80s, and in those days, yes, this question of accountability, the Parliament was a supervisory board. Parliament could ensure that government is made accountable. Today, some or other, this is coming down. Coming down.
Maybe because of the paucity of
so
time.
One is paucity of time. I told you
so
earlier.
Hence the need to have more sessions.
I already told you. You see, if you look at the question hour and the way it is run, it is one of the best instruments to make the ministers and government accountable.
Okay.
And actually, the ministers are scared of the question hour. If an MP prepare very well on the question comes, and if there is any hanky-panky on the minister, he can be caught.
Yeah.
And there are rare occasions when ministers are caught in the question hour. And they used to correct it. They used to apologize. But nowadays, question hour is not taken seriously. So, with regards to ensuring the accountability of the executive, Parliament is the body to function effectively, but unfortunately, I feel it is not being done satisfactorily.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your views with us. So this was Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, PJ Kurien, in a freewheeling conversation with us on all the issues concerning the, I would say, the biggest pillar of the democracy, that's the Parliament. Stay tuned to Rajya Sabha Television. We'll come back next week with some other personality and some other important issue.